If you're thinking about moving to Chicago in 2026, here are the 5 neighborhoods that most relocators moving to Chicago get wrong. We're counting down from 5 to 1, and for each one, I'll show you what the reality is on the ground versus what you see on Zillow or your laptop, and what you need to know before you write an offer. So stick with me until the end because the last one is the one that most relocators misjudge the most. If this is your first time on our channel, I'm Dee. I lived in Chicago for 27 years, and for the last 20 years, I've been helping people buy and sell homes in Chicago real estate market. So what I'm sharing isn't a theory, it's coming from someone who's actually in these Chicago neighborhoods every single day. So let's get into it. Number 5 is Uptown. Uptown is one of the most misunderstood neighborhoods on the list for relocators. You pull up Uptown on Zillow, you see beautiful vintage courtyard buildings, you see the Aragon Ballroom, the Green Mill Jazz Club, the Red Line right in the middle of it. You see Argyle Street with all the incredible Vietnamese and Thai restaurants, one of the best food strips in the city, lakefront right there, and then you check the prices and they look more affordable than Andersonville to the north or Lakeview to the south. So you think this is a hidden gem. I found a deal. And don't get me wrong, the value is real, but here's what you can see from your laptop. Uptown has become one of the most competitive markets in the city for buyers. Properties sell in days. Multiple offers are the norm. Strong listings are going 5, 10, sometimes 20% over asking. Inventory is tight, and the buyers who show up here are serious. Let me give you a real example. I recently made an offer for a client in Uptown. They put 40% down, offered 12% over asking, signed an appraisal gap waiver, meaning if the home appraised low, they would cover the difference in cash. And we still did not get the property. Let it sink in. 40% down, 12% over asking, appraisal gap waiver, still not enough. Another buyer offered $75,000 over asking on a $600,000 property with 20% down, same terms, appraisal gap waiver as its condition, and lost. So trust me, calling the buyers who put their best foot forward thinking their offer was good enough is the worst call for a realtor to make, especially when you have to make that call over and over again. So it's definitely not something to brag about, but I want you to understand how competitive this market is. So while Uptown looks affordable on Zillow, what you're actually walking into is a battlefield of qualified buyers who are competing for a very limited inventory. Number 4 on our list is Andersonville. This is one of the most misjudged neighborhoods on the list because it's the easiest one to fall in love with and the hardest one to actually live in until you understand what you're signing up for. You can discover Andersonville on Zillow and you immediately fall in love because honestly, I can't blame you. It's that true small town in a big city feel. Clark Street is incredible. Independent boutiques, Swedish bakeries, the Swedish American Museum, great restaurants, great bars, one of the country's largest concentration of women-owned independent businesses, and one of the most welcoming LGBTQ+ neighborhoods in Chicago. But here's where most YouTube videos stop. They show you the bakeries and the festivals, and they skip the parts of life here that you actually have to live every day. Let me give you the parts that other videos won't cover. First, the price reality. Andersonville used to be the affordable alternative to Lakeview, and that used to be the true, but not so much anymore. The medium single-family home price in Andersonville has crossed $1 million, and it's up about 13% in just 1 year. So even decent vintage condos are now in the 700+ range. And when a good property hits the market, it can disappear literally in days. Second, the commute. Andersonville is far north. It's not directly on the Red Line. The closest L stop are Bryn Mawr and Berwyn, about 15 to 20-minute walk from most of the residential heart of the neighborhood. 22 Clark bus is great and runs frequently, but you're either walking to the L, taking the bus to the L, or driving. And driving to the Loop in rush hour can be 30 to 45 minutes or more. So if you're moving from a city when you walk 2 blocks to the subway, okay, this is going to be an adjustment. Third, the parking and the building stock. Many of the vintage 3-flat condos in Andersonville don't include a garage. So even with a residential parking permit, finding a spot after 7 p.m. can take real time. And the housing stock here is overwhelmingly early 1900s vintage. You have beautiful gray stones, beautiful brownstones, 2-flats, but also old plumbing, old electrical, limited or no central AC, no in-building gyms or elevators. And if you're moving from a Sunbelt city where everything is new construction with a fitness center downstairs, Andersonville is going to feel like a time travel. Some people love that. Others find out the hard way that vintage charm comes with vintage maintenance bills. Bottom line on Andersonville, walk both the Clark adjacent blocks and the residential blocks that are 3 to 4 blocks off, and time the actual commute to the loop in rush hour. Look at the building age and HVAC before you fall in love with the architecture. Be pre-approved, prepared, and ready to move when the right home hits the market. But if you appreciate gorgeous vintage architecture, tree-lined streets, gray stones, the small town in a big city energy, and being a short walk from some of the best cafes, restaurants, and gyms in Chicago, Andersonville is exactly where you want to be. Just go in with eyes open and be aware of the trade-offs. Number 3 is Logan Square. And Logan Square might have the biggest gap between how it looks online and the reality of buying here. Logan Square has had one of the biggest price increases in Chicago over the last decade. Home values jumped about 24% in just 1 year. Median prices are around $515,000, and good 2-flats and single-family homes are selling well above that. Logan Square is a great neighborhood. You have beautiful historic boulevards, a great restaurant scene on Milwaukee Avenue, and a blue line that gets you downtown in about 20 minutes. And here's something specific to Logan Square. A big chunk of the housing stock here, especially in certain pockets, is multi-unit buildings. 2-flats, 3-flats, 4-flats. Roughly 35 to 40% of the real estate in those areas are multi-unit buildings. So if you're looking to buy a 2 or 3-flat in Logan Square, it can seem like the obvious choice because there's so many great options. Gorgeous gray stones, brownstones, stunning vintage architecture, intricate details that you won't find in your neighborhoods. But here's something that you probably don't know about buying a multi-unit building in Logan Square, and most Chicago real estate YouTubers won't tell you about it either. It's called the Northwest Side Housing Preservation Ordinance. The ordinance went into effect March 2025, and it covers Logan Square along with a handful of other Northwest Side neighborhoods. And here's what it does. If a seller is selling a rental building in Logan Square, like a 2-flat or a 3-flat with tenants in place, those tenants have the right to match any offer that seller accepts. The seller has to notify tenants 30 days before the listing. Then, if you make an offer, the existing tenants have 15 days to come back with a matching offer of their own. Now, you may be thinking, what does that mean to you? Well, 2 things. First, the timeline on a Logan Square rental property purchase is longer than it used to be. There's this built-in friction. And second, you can do everything right. Write the strongest offer, get it accepted, and still lose the building if the existing tenants exercise their right. And if you're planning to buy a Logan Square 2-flat as a house hack, live in one unit, rent the other, which is a great idea, go in with eyes wide open. The ordinance applies to you when you actually sell too. So bottom line on Logan Square, understand the ordinance before you fall in love with a 2-flat or a 3-flat or 4-flat. The exit strategy here is more complicated than the listing photos suggest. But if you appreciate beautiful historic boulevards and one of Chicago's best food and nightlife scenes, a 606 trail at your back door, and a 20-minute blue line ride downtown, Logan Square is exactly where you want to be. Before I get to number 2, if you're thinking about moving to Chicago, and whether that's in 6 days or 6 months, my team and I would love to help you make a smooth move here. I've been selling real estate here in Chicago for over 20 years. I've sold over 300 properties, and you can scan this QR code on the screen and schedule a free, no obligation strategy consultation. And if you're not quite ready for that yet, I put together a free Chicago relocation guide and a full buyer's course. Both are completely free. Both are linked in the description. A lot of clients tell me that both save them months of research on how to buy a home in Chicago and which neighborhood is the best fit for their lifestyle. So be sure to grab whatever fits your stage before you leave. All right, back to countdown. Number 2 on my list is Lakeview. Lakeview is one of the most popular Chicago neighborhoods for relocators, and for a good reason. Wrigley Field, the lakefront, the Southport Corridor, some of the best schools on the north side, both the Red Line and the Brown Line. But here's the thing that you might be missing about Lakeview. Lakeview has 5 micro sub-neighborhoods. East Lakeview is right on the lake, so you have high-rise condos, you're walking distance to the lake. It's a very different vibe than West Lakeview, which is more residential and much quieter. Then you have Boys Town or North Halsted as the cultural hub, great restaurants and nice scene, and one of the most LGBTQ+ friendly communities in Chicago. Wrigleyville is obviously where Wrigley Stadium is, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then you have Southport Corridor as its own thing with amazing boutique shopping, great restaurants, family scene, top schools, and all that great stuff. The median single-family home price across Lakeview is around $1.4 million, but pricing varies widely depending on which Lakeview you're talking about. Speaking of those sub-neighborhoods, Wrigleyville comes with one specific thing that relocators don't account: game days. And if you live near Wrigley Field, game days are real. 81 home games every season. Plus, you have concerts in the summer. And if you love that energy, it's incredible. But if you're someone who doesn't like crowds or gets easily overstimulated, that's something that you need to know before you sign anything. One more thing about Lakeview that catches relocators off guard: the L train runs right through the neighborhood. So if you're scrolling Zillow and you see a Lakeview condo or a home that looks like it's priced too good to be true, pull up the map. Check if it backs up to the train tracks, because so many relocators, especially coming from places like Houston or Dallas, where elevated trains aren't really a thing, get an unpleasant surprise when we are touring a property and the L zooms by 10 feet from the backyard every few minutes all day long. Some buyers don't care. The discount on those properties is real, and if you're a deep sleeper or if you spend your days at the office, it might not bother you. But if you're a light sleeper or you work from home or you just want quiet weekends, check the map before you fall in love. The discount has a reason. And if you're shopping for condos in Lakeview, especially in the vintage buildings like 3 flats, courtyard buildings, or older mid-rises, and even high-rises built in the 1960s, which you have a lot of in East Lakeview, ask for the building reserve report and the last 2 years of board minutes before you write an offer. Some of these buildings have limited reserves, deferred maintenance, and major repairs around the corner. One of my buyers recently backed out of the contract because the building had a major special assessment coming up for some fireproofing related issues, which was flagged by the city, so the building lost its warrantable status and the lenders wouldn't touch it. Or you buy a beautiful $450,000 condo with a $600 HOA, and 6 months later, there's a $15,000 special assessment. That is not rare. That happens all the time. Bottom line on Lakeview, figure out which part of Lakeview you're really looking at before you fall in love with a property. Walk it on a game day. Check the map for train tracks, and if the condos are in the picture, dig into building reserves. Find out as much as you can. But if you appreciate world-class transit, walkable streets, the lakefront a few blocks away, depending of course on where you live in Lakeview, and one of the most established Northside Chicago neighborhoods, Lakeview is exactly where you want to be. And number 1 on my list is Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park is one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in any American city. So you may be wondering, should you move to Lincoln Park? And on paper, this place has everything. The park itself, Lincoln Park Zoo, which by the way is completely free, the conservatory, lakefront, historic brownstones, restaurants on Halsted and Armitage, and shopping on Armitage, DePaul University. It's amazing. It's really beautiful. Here's where Lincoln Park gets misjudged the most. It's one of the most expensive neighborhoods on this list. The median single-family home price in Lincoln Park is about $1.85 million, and that's the median, not the top. And if you're coming from a market where $1.5 to $2 million is the high end of the single-family market, in Lincoln Park, that range puts you in the lower end of the single-family market. The math works differently here than in most American cities, and the tax bill follows that price tier. Cook County property taxes are one of the highest in the country, so the taxes are roughly about 2% of your home's value per year. That's the same percentage in every Chicago neighborhood, but the dollar impact in Lincoln Park hits hardest because the values are the highest. On the median Lincoln Park single-family home, that's $1.85 million we just talked about, you're looking at roughly $37,000 a year in property taxes. That's over $3,000 a month before your mortgage payment. So the higher prices in Lincoln Park don't just hit you at closing, they hit you every month in your tax bill as long as you own the home. And here's something most relocators don't think about until it's a problem: parking. Lincoln Park is one of the most parking challenged neighborhoods in the city. Even with a residential permit parking, finding a spot on high density streets can take 20 minutes of circling. That's why a deeded private parking spot in Lincoln Park can run $30,000 to $50,000 and sometimes more to buy. And then there's a towing situation. Lincoln Park has been historically serviced by some of the most aggressive towing companies in Chicago. Park in a wrong spot, even with a sign that you didn't quite understand, and your car can be gone before you finish dinner. Newcomers get hit with this constantly. And in winter, you learn about something Chicago calls dips. If you spend an hour shoveling out a parking spot during a snowstorm, you put a chair or cone or an old folding stool, anything in that spot to claim it. And there is an unspoken rule that other neighbors respect it. You move someone's dibs and take their spot, and you will hear about it, and maybe not in a way that you want to hear about it. So if you're moving from a city where parking is a non-issue, Lincoln Park is going to be an adjustment. And one more, DePaul University. DePaul's main campus is right in the middle of Lincoln Park. That gives the neighborhood a young, energetic feel, but it also means that some residential blocks have constant traffic, late night noise, and that weekend energy. So if you're moving here for the brownstone and quiet vibe, walk the blocks on a Friday night before you commit. Bottom line on Lincoln Park, figure out your budget honestly, ask about parking, and walk the blocks at different times of the day. The gap between what you imagined and what your dollar and your daily life actually looks like here is bigger than in any other neighborhood on this list. But despite all of it, the proximity to downtown, the excellent public transportation, gorgeous historic homes, the Michelin-starred restaurants, the cafes, vibrant streets, shopping on Armitage. For so many people, Lincoln Park is absolutely worth the cost. And if it fits your budget and your lifestyle, this neighborhood delivers like very few others. Here's what I want to leave you with. In 24 years of helping people relocate to Chicago, I watched the same pattern over and over again. You see Lincoln Park in an article and decide that that's where you want to live. Or you see Andersonville on someone's Instagram and you fall in love. And then you get here and you walk the block, and the version that you had in your head, the one you built from listings and articles and YouTube videos, doesn't match what's actually here. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, but it's always different. Because moving to Chicago isn't about picking a neighborhood, it's about picking a lifestyle. A coffee shop that you'll go to every Saturday, a walk to the LA, a street that feels like home. You can't see any of that from a laptop in New York or LA, you see it on the ground. So look, if Chicago is on your list, there is no substitute for being on the ground, on the block, at the different times of day. And if you can't come out yet, that's where I come in. Let me be your eyes here. That's literally what I do for my clients every week, whatever it takes, so you don't end up in a home you regret. If you're not ready for that yet, hit subscribe. I drop Chicago neighborhood deep dives and market updates every week, so when you are ready to move, you won't be starting from zero. And drop a comment and tell me which neighborhood you want me to break down next. I read every single one of your comments. Your comments are how I know what content matters. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.